Welcome back to the Broker Power Up podcast, the AIME podcast for strategy, stories, and insights to help you put along. I'm Tommy Golightly, joined by Jonathon Haddad. How are you?
Oh, baby, just living off that fuse high, my friend. I think people are still a little tired from our team. I'll just put it that way.
Yeah, I'm hurting. Specifically, my thighs. They are on fire. The amount of steps the day of WMN, love you ladies, love you legends. I did 48 flights of steps. And then on top of that, I did 20,000 steps. So body's hurting, but every step was worth it because I got to hang out for a little bit of that and just seeing the connections being made, and it made it everything worth it. But we do have a lot going on today. We have the Broker Buzz, where we're going to dive into the top posts of the week from the Brokers Are Best Facebook group and discuss what's trending, what's working, and what you need to know. Then we'll go into the sales pitch training where John helps us become better salespeople. And then we will wrap things up with story time with John. But first, a fortune cookie. I finally get to open one. I didn't open one all weekend.
Yeah, but
everyone else got to open them.
But you did do how many podcasts?
66.
He did 66 podcasts, y'all. Let me tell y'all, when I saw this man at the end of the first day, he was like, he was living off that excitement, right? But I could tell he was a little like foggy from it because he's talking all day. He's got to be dialed in. But the second day after he finished, y'all, you should have seen him. I mean, he was wiped out. He was so exhilarated. No,
words were coming out, but they weren't making sense.
You were just, I'm going to bed. Thank you guys for your time. Yeah, I really appreciate it.
And then I got back on Monday, and my team will tell you I couldn't even type. I was trying to type out like what we were going to be doing that day. It was gibberish. I went back and I like typed it all out, and then I looked at what I sent, and I was just like, "Oh, that's not
what I meant.
That's not English.
Yeah,
that's not proper sentence structure." But today's podcast or today's fortune. Oh man,
what
exciting adventures are coming soon.
Go ahead, Tommy.
1, Puerto Rico. 2, Austin. But before all that, Scotland for me.
Yes. What are you doing over there?
We're hiking. We're drinking scotch. We're relaxing. We're playing card games. We're doing everything I want to do. And I'm like all my favorite things I get to do over the next 2 weeks, and I'm ecstatic and so excited. And there's going to be a ton of adventures and a ton of pictures. And thank you so much to the community for all of your friend requests. It has meant the world to me. I feel way more connected to this community. Last year, I knew a ton of people in the community because I had done broker to broker podcasts with them, or a live stream, or some kind of thing behind the scenes. But this year, people knew me that I didn't know them. And that was really shocking to me, but also really motivating in that. And I'm very thankful to you, John, for allowing me to and trusting me to be a face at AIME, because I know that that is something that means a lot to you of how AIME is perceived. And it just means a lot to me that you trust me to be one of those voices and faces.
You're the man, and it's easy to trust you. I'll tell you that much. You deliver all the time. You're always focused. You don't take your eye off the prize, and you just genuinely love people. So not that hard to follow your lead on that, and it's awesome. And it's funny you said Scotland. You're like, I'll drink scotch and hike, and I'm sorry, just a quick brain fog here. I almost said, yeah, don't forget to drink Guinness, but that's not in Scotland.
I probably will have some Guinness though.
Okay, good. Yeah, just wanted to make sure. No, but jokes aside, y'all. No, you've stepped up in a way that I didn't know was possible. I knew the potential was there, and then as you started just going and catching your groove, I can also tell it's something you enjoy doing, and the rest of the community felt it. The amount of people that came up and told me about you directly, I didn't know Tommy did that. I didn't know he was part of all that. I didn't know he's the one recording all that. I didn't know. It was amazing to watch them, and without you being around, right? So I know they genuinely meant it and they felt it, and that had a lot to do with you. And it was awesome to hear you say how many people added you on Facebook, because now they're putting a face to it. So we appreciate you, and thank you for everything you've done.
Thank you, appreciate it. We have some questions from our community, starting with our first one. My partner and I have our first multi-million-dollar bank statement deal. It is in California. What is the standard people charge? We are thinking 1%, but a $20,000 origination fee looks a little crazy. And I don't want the client thinking we're charging them a ton because they have money. What is the standard usually?
All right. So here's the thing. We're going to break this down into context here. Number one, the emphasis on your value is the first thing I'm going to talk about here. 1% is not high at all, especially when you consider a bank statement loan. So take into account the difficulties of the loan you're putting together. Why does it have to be a bank statement loan? Make sure the borrower understands that. Why can't they do a regular loan? You and I know that answer, right? They can't because of whatever reason with taxes or how they filed or whatever the case might be, which means that you have a product that not everybody offers. That's the first piece of this. Number two, if it's a purchase, which I don't know, how much are they paying in real estate fees? How much is the seller paying in real estate fees? What's it matter what the seller pays, John? That's a conversation I have with the buyer. If they say, oh, that's too much in fees, the seller's paying 5% of the listing price on this in commissions. You're asking me to put together a product that I know in and out better than anybody. And so for me, I value the work that I put into this because I'm going to make sure it's done right and I'm going to make sure you close online. My other guess, as you said, I believe California, right, Tommy?
Yeah, California.
Yeah. So I'm licensed in California. You know what? It's insane there. Earnest money deposits, if this is a purchase, I mind you. The earnest money deposits are absurd in California. That could be $40, $50, $100,000 on the line. Do you really want to risk it? And these are all conversations I have with the client. But if you're afraid I'm charging too much, I might lose the deal, then that was never a deal you had to begin with. Now, that doesn't mean don't have the conversation. That doesn't mean don't negotiate if the client's open to negotiation, but don't undervalue the work that you are doing. 1%, I don't care. The loan size happens to be a large loan size. So what? The work that you have to put in is a big deal. The risk is really high because let me ask you this question. If something does go south, guess who's getting blamed? You are. You are. And so part of it and part of this conversation, you guys can say whatever you want. I don't care. But part of this conversation is, hey, is this worth the risk for me and my reputation? Because I'm the one that's going to be on the line here. This is a high net worth client. How many high net worth friends do they have? How many people in this conversation could be told bad things about you if you don't do a good job? Many. And many people can be told good things. But that all has to do with how you manage expectations, with how you have the conversation with the consumer, but don't undervalue yourself. No, 1% for a massive bank statement loan, multi-million or not, I don't care. I don't think that's a lot. Personally, I think it's really low. And I would absolutely start at full comp on this deal and have the conversations. It's worth it. It doesn't frustrate me. You said 1%, so it's a $2 million deal at $20,000. Okay, you charge 2%, $40,000. How much are they putting down for the earnest money deposit? You're asking me to finance this home for you. You're asking me to find you millions of dollars that you don't have. I have a fee for that. I have a fee for that. And look, it doesn't always work out, and that's okay. I'm not saying don't negotiate, but don't start low for no reason.
Absolutely. And our next question. Borrower has a vacation home in Maine, value at $857,000 with a mortgage of $150,000. Looking at refinancing $210,000 to pull some cash out. If she claims the rental income on the tax return, does it matter if the rental income is short-term weekly versus 12-month lease for a conventional loan?
All right, listen, I'm just going to hit you between the eyes here on this one. If the client has a 12-month lease, that is not a vacation home. It is a rental property. So if you get the tax returns and it says 12 months rented out and the lease agreement says 12 months, you cannot call this a vacation home, please. Please don't. So if it's short-term rental, yes, you can still call it a vacation home. Follow the guidelines under Fannie Mae. Look up short-term rentals. There's this X amount of time on the tax returns. If the client files a Schedule E as in Edward, that's where they would file the taxes for that rental property or that vacation home. Or if it's in a business name, that's a separate conversation. But if it's on there, on the Schedule E, it'll say number of days rented out. So that'll give you a good inclination as to, is this a vacation home or a long-term rental? Here's the thing though, based off the equity position, it sounds like even with the additional cash out the client's taking, they're going to be under 60% loan to value. So just to give y'all perspective, let's use a rhetorical number here, something easier. Let's just say it's $100,000 appraised value. Then that means what they're financing is $60,000 or less. So 60% loan to value. In that case, the pricing is almost identical, under 60% loan to value, as it is for a vacation home versus a rental property. So do your due diligence, ask the right questions, get the documentation, and just do the right thing on that file. Don't be afraid to have the tough conversation. Protect yourself at all costs and protect your consumers. So that's what I would say towards that. Double check those tax returns. 12 months or longer is not a vacation home. That someone lives there. I can't just barge in and say, hey, I want to use it this week. No, I have a 12-month lease that says this is my property. I'm not allowing you in here. So make sure you have that conversation.
Makes total sense. All right. And our final question for the week. A young man is on title and loan with his parents and has been living with them for many years. That young man is now getting married and wants to buy a house with his wife-to-be. Both will be on the title and loan. What is the best structure for this loan? Thanks.
So number one, if the property that he's currently living in, you said that he is on the title and the mortgage of the property with his parents.
Yeah.
So if you're looking to exclude that debt, you're saying, hey, I need to exclude that specific mortgage. Then there's a way to do it for conventional loans. However, that client and the other clients, his parents, all need to be on the notes of the original mortgage. If they're all on the notes of the original mortgage, then you need to prove that his parents have been paying that mortgage on time for 12 months. Double check how many lates are available. I don't think you can have any over a certain period of time, so double check that. However, if the parents are paying it and they're on the note, you can exclude that debt of that property pending they're on the mortgage note and they've paid on time for 12 months. If you don't need it and you can qualify and the client qualifies even with that mortgage debt, I would absolutely ensure you write a very detailed letter of explanation. Obviously, it sounds like the client's getting married, so it's pretty easy to prove. If you have a wedding venue or paperwork or whatever it is, invitations even, I always do that.
Like you would have an additional income to add to that as well, right?
Correct. You could add the potential new spouse if that's the case in there, but just prove to the underwriters that, hey, here's the case. I'm getting married. I'm moving out of this property. This will be my primary residence. Here's my situation. Here's what it's been. Just detail and prove all of that. You will not run into any issues structuring it as a standard primary pending. That's what the client's doing. So dig deep still. Make sure you have the tough conversations up front. But this sounds like a pretty simple, straightforward loan pending. It's one of those two routes that you end up taking.
Cool. I feel like I just didn't know how much the mortgage industry, when trying to get a loan, listens to just, oh, that makes sense. But it's just the weird, different, off, irregular things that not everyone deals with, but makes sense if you actually just hear what the situation is.
Well, Tommy, I've unfortunately denied out and screwed up more loans than I care to admit. And therefore, I have this conviction when I speak on certain topics like this, where it's like, don't screw it up, because it does make sense in the grand scheme of things. But initially, when you first hear it, you might be thrown off just a tad bit. So having this guidance, having this conviction is going to help you do more business and make less mistakes.
Absolutely. Well, if you want your question read on the Broker Power Up podcast, be sure when you post in the Brokers Are Best Facebook group, use hashtag Broker Power Up, and John will answer your question here on the podcast. If you are not in the Brokers Are Best Facebook group, you should become an AIME member and scan the QR code, go to the link in this quick ad, and we'll be right back with sales pitch training.
Are you a wholesale mortgage professional? Well, then the very first thing you need is a community to help you and your business grow. With AIME membership, your community is right here. Joining our community means never navigating the market alone or operating without a safety net ever again. We are 16,000 members strong of united wholesale professionals. From rookies to top-ranking originators, all dedicated to supporting each other's success so we can grow together. Beyond entry to the best community in the mortgage industry, AIME membership gives you the resources, tools, guidance, discounts, services, and support that help you and your wholesale business grow, thrive, and most importantly, close more loans. AIME membership connects you with leading wholesale lenders and vendors, offering you exclusive access, services, and discounts that save you more money while helping you make more money. Never get stuck on a loan again with our lender escalation program. Grow your network and skills with the wholesale industry's best conferences and networking events. Get the strategies and skills of top originators and industry innovators with AIME's cutting-edge wholesale mortgage education, resources, and content. AIME offers all of this and more, starting at a low price of $19.99 a month. You heard it here first, couple cups of Starbucks coffee. For you to learn more and get started, all you have to do is visit aimegroup.com, AIME group.com/membership. Your community is waiting.
And I'm waiting to become a better salesperson. John, what do we have?
All right. I'm going to make this one short and sweet and talk about stepping outside of your comfort zone. There's a way to do this. And not many people understand the methods to doing it or even what it means. So the first thing I want y'all to understand is there's three different zones that you're in, right? There's the comfort zone, there's the stretch zone, and then there's the panic zone. I know it's funny, but it's real.
No, I know, absolutely.
No, I know it's like, it is funny because when you think about it in your head, you go, wait, that actually makes sense.
Yeah.
So comfort zone, y'all know what this is. Your day to day, you know, the routine. I'm going to, I have my workout plan for the week. I know I'm going to do arms on this day. I know what meals I'm going to have this day. I know the vitamins I need to take. I have all of that down packed. Okay. That's the comfort zone. The stretch zone in that situation would be me doing a workout that I'm not used to doing before. It'd be me switching it up, changing my diet, having to try stuff that I don't want to try. That's going to be your stretch zone. The panic zone is I'm going into the gym. I have no idea what I'm going to do, but here we go. Let me just throw on a couple 100 pounds of weight and just see if I can lift it. And we'll take it from there. So many of us love to live in the comfort zone. And when things go sideways, we immediately jump into the panic zone because we haven't taught ourselves how to deal with those situations or with those issues. So one of the first things is to realize your comfort traps. So ask yourself, as you go through your day and you're going through all your tasks every single week, whether it's networking, whether it's engaging with clients, going through your pipeline, enrolling new clients, having conversations with your AEs, calling past clients, whatever the case might be, ask yourself where you start to get uncomfortable as you go through everything you need to do to run your business effectively. So I want to know where you struggle the most. Where is it that when I say something, whether it's call your past clients, do you immediately go into the panic zone? And Tommy, you might have something about this from the marketing side of things, right? What happens? We saw a couple times at Fuse, right? With some of the things we had to deal with behind the scenes.
There were some panics. Yeah.
There were some panics, but you've had enough foresight. You've gone through it many times where we did sit in that stretch zone for the most part. Yeah, there was a couple of panic, but from a marketing standpoint, what are some areas that pop up from a panic perspective?
When we go live streaming we make it look easy, hopefully, but it is stressful. There's a lot that can go wrong. You are reliant on other platforms to stay up, like Facebook, not pointing any fingers, but likes to just randomly go down and then come back up whenever, it feels like. So being able to know your tools and knowing what to do when that happens and staying calm, because when Facebook goes down, there are a lot of buttons that I have to press in the background and a lot of trial and error and checking and having multiple browsers up so that I can see what the viewer is seeing, essentially, and managing. I have multiple screens here in my setup and I use every square inch of them to ensure that the live stream goes as smoothly as possible, but sometimes it's just out of your control. And so you being able to give up that control and acknowledge when when there is just nothing you can do, and you check the down status report and Facebook is just straight up down. But then what do you do? How do you communicate that? You hop onto Facebook, you go into the event group, you post comments, you let people know that we're down and that we'll be back up. What's going to happen? Oh, we got the recording, so please come watch the video over on YouTube, because we do dual stream. We dual stream to Facebook and YouTube for almost all of our streams. So one quick thing, and that's just a backup, right? So it's like, all right, we'll just switch over here and come join us over here, and you'll still be able to see the content. And so being able to, I think, provide yourself with backups is a way to help stay out of that or deal with that stress zone, because if one thing fails, you have something else in your pocket.
You nailed it, as I knew you would. And that's another example. Doesn't matter the industry that you're in. You see how his brain was able to just work through that very quickly, because he's been doing it for a really long time. He understands it. He knows things happen. He didn't get emotional about it. It just is what it is. Yeah. Perfect example. I was on stage. We had Bill Pulte, director of FHFA. We could only get him via Zoom, and we are grateful, beyond grateful for that, because we know so many other places could not get him to come. Shout out to Barry Habib, by the way. Barry Habib, we love you, brother. Thank you, my friend. But with him, no video, just audio, Zoom. When I was on stage, what I didn't realize is I would not be able to hear him. So I heard nothing on the stage. So we start going. I asked one of the questions. He got cut off because the internet started to go down. I didn't know he got cut off. So I start asking the next question. So internally, I start to panic a little bit. And I said, okay, what can I do right now? I brought my cell phone out with me because I had some of the questions I wanted to make sure I asked correctly. And then I saw one of our board members, shout out to Julie Arbro in the front row. I shot her a text and I told her what was going on. And I said, can you just give me a little thumbs up when he's done answering the question so I know to pivot on? And that's exactly what she did. So yes, I shifted into panic really quickly. However, I went back into that stretch zone. I said, no, don't overthink this. You know how to resolve this. What can you do right now? What's the solution? So I love that. And for those of you out there, these are comfort traps. Are you ready for these? Comfort trap.
I just had one more thing on that. Relying on your team. Remember, relying on team members to help you when you're in the panic zone can bring you back down to the stretch zone, into a point where you're comfortable enough and no longer panicking, because you have someone else taking on some of the, not responsibility, but being able to take action and make what you need to do easier.
Yes, sir. 100%. The team, shout out to Epic, by the way, our team behind the scenes as well. They were putting notes on the monitor right in front of me and just giving me little cues, helping me out. Just shout out to them, y'all. We owe you big for that. And Tommy, you're spot on. The team. So I want to walk through some comfort traps that all of you are probably going to recognize. Staying behind the desk. So how does this show up in person? If you're somebody that just always stays behind the desk, John, I just like being behind the desk. And for those that don't know, I was direct to consumer for many years. I just sat behind that desk. Yeah, I don't need to go to the networking event. Yeah, I don't need to go to this closing. Yeah, I don't need to do this. So staying behind your desk is a comfort trap. Now, how does it show up? It shows up by avoiding in-person agent meetings. That's how it shows up. So what can I do? How can you break this barrier? Schedule 2 coffee meetings, 2 lunch meetings. I'm not big onto the coffee thing personally. I think there's way better ways to do it, but it doesn't matter. That's just a way to get out of one of those traps. Another trap, relying on the same referral partners over and over again. You just tell yourself, no need for new relationships. I'm comfortable right here. How do you grow through this? Call 3 agents a week. Simple. I'm just going to call and try. Another one, only posting about loans online. How it shows up. You're limiting your brand awareness. We are in a different age, my friends, a different age where people want to understand who you are if you're trying to build a brand authority. And if we're in real estate, brand authority is one of our biggest weapons to leverage. With social media, it's so much easier for us to do it now without spending millions and millions of dollars that people had to do in the past. So try one personal a week, even if it's just one. The next one. Waiting for perfect scripting. Oh, Tommy, this is my favorite. How does this show up? This shows up by paralysis analysis. Oh, all right. Let me just, before I call this client, hold on, but just real quick, John, what's the exact interest But why does, John, real fast, you know who you are, and I love you. We love you. But this is a comfort trap. People that chase perfection are afraid to fail. You got to get rid of paralysis analysis. We've all been there. I still go through it today. I was just joking with Tommy, right? When I got back home Monday, I was working. It was so hard to focus. I was so drained from Fuse and everything we had to do. It was just hard. It was hard. I had paralysis analysis. So I got to do this. I got to do that. You know, one of those things where I pace to the bathroom, pace to the kitchen, pace back to my office. And what am I doing again?
Yeah, you forget why you walked into the room.
Paralysis analysis. So how can you overcome this? Go live. Go live with your message and refine it later. Who cares? Post it, edit it later. And then another comfort trap, avoiding rejection. I don't want to deny this out. Ooh, yikes. I don't want to make that call. How that shows up, it's fear of no. So how about instead, how can I overcome this? Track rejections as a win. I love writing down my no's. I love it. It's great. And I write why it was a no.
Yeah.
You know, and I don't do it as much anymore because of what I'm doing now. It's just a different approach that I take. But when it came to my clients and my agents, oh my gosh. One of the things I used to love to ask people when they tell me no is, hey, what feedback do you have for me on what I presented in front of you? I love saying that. What feedback do you have? No, why did you do that? Why don't you want to do the loan? Why doesn't it make sense? I don't understand. No, I appreciate your time. I'm so grateful for the opportunity. I understand that I'm not the right fit for you. But what I'd love from you is feedback as to my process and the option I put together. Can you provide that for me? You'd be surprised how many people love giving feedback if you open it up for that kind of criticism. That helps you big time. So how can you overcome this? What can you do when it comes to your comfort traps? So what I would challenge all of you to do is this. Grab a pen and paper. Grab your phone, whatever it might be. Sit down and go, okay, what are 3 comfort zone confessions that I have? 3 comfort zone confessions that I have. And this is going to be tough for some of you. Why? We don't like looking at the mirror. We don't like looking at what we're bad at. But you know, just as well as I know, it sucks sometimes looking yourself in the eye and going, I know I'm not good at this.
Yeah.
But this is what helps you. So write down 3 of them. Things I know I should be doing, but I haven't because it feels uncomfortable. Write that down. Things I know I should be doing, but I haven't because it feels uncomfortable. From there, you're going to write out your comfort traps. And what that's going to allow you to do is start building momentum and help pushing you forward to get outside of your comfort zone. So I don't want to go too deep into this because there's a lot of context here, but I'm encouraging you to start here. What are your comfort traps? Just name 3 of them. Be truthful to yourself and make sure they're dialed into sales, right? Your comfort traps need to be around what's generating you revenue, what's putting food on your table, what's helping you propel forward. So that's where I would start. Write them down, have a confession, be truthful to yourself, and add little tidbits of things you can do to step outside of that comfort zone trap. That is my tip for today.
Absolutely. Love it. Yeah. Just wanted to shout out Patrick real quick. He came into the podcast booth and he came up to me and he said, he asked what we were doing. And then he said, I'm looking to step outside my comfort zone. And I think this is a way to do it. And
what a legend. And you said newer LO, right?
Newer LO. And so please, when you see that come through our socials and on YouTube, please engage with it. Please like it. He was a pleasure to work with and talk to. And you'll be seeing him on Broker to Broker shortly. So please engage with that as well. I think he's going to have a great story for you all. And I think we can have a lot to learn from his willingness to step outside his comfort zone. Because we ask people to do it, he's doing it. So we're going to take a quick second here and we're going to switch to story time with John. John, the floor is yours.
All right. So today's story, y'all, is about the incredible Barbara Corcoran. So I had the honor of doing a podcast with her before she took the main stage at Fuse. And this was on Friday. And so obviously the night before I'm prepping, I'm doing even more and more research. I've been a fan. I mean, Shark Tank, obviously, as we all know, but I started learning more and more about her story. And I just was reading about her and watching videos about her and just infatuating myself with everything that she stands for, just so I could understand and make the 15 minutes that I had as effective as possible. And you never know how these are going to go. I had the opportunity to do it last year, and it's been great meeting all these wonderful people that have done some extraordinary things in their life. But there's always that little sense of nerves, right? Just like all of you, I do get nervous, and it's just about making sure we perform, right? You're putting on, it's your first impression. You want to make sure that you're asking the right questions. I went as far to even make sure I wasn't asking the same questions. So I was watching many of her interviews and I said, all right, try and stay away from this, dial more into that. If there was something on Wikipedia that answered a question I had, I didn't want to ask it. I wanted to ask something different. And so before all that, we're getting hyped up and I'm getting ready and everyone's looking for her and her security's coming down. They're texting our team and she's coming to the podcast room. So had a couple people back there just to make sure everything was good. And I'm waiting and I'm so eagerly excited, as is the rest of our team, to meet this incredible human being. So there she is. I see her down the hallway. I beeline back into the podcast room. I sorry, I'll be ready for her here. Had my suit on, had my tie on. I was ready to go. Got the haircut done. I felt amazing. So this incredible woman walks in, opens the door. And she's not she's not a tall person by any means. Her energy hits you so hard in the face. Her aura, the way she carries herself. I mean, it was instant that you felt it. She said her highs. I walk over to her. I put my hand out. She knew who I was. She looks at me. She says, John? I said, Barbara, how are you? She looks me dead in the eye and she goes, wow, you look better in person than you do in your headshot. Everybody burst out laughing, me included. She said, you reverse catfished me. And we're laughing and we're having fun. And then I stopped and I started asking her questions about the headshot. I said, wait a second. If this successful human being is giving me this kind of feedback, I'm just curious why, right? Like I was genuinely curious and I thought it was hilarious. And so did the team. And it was funny. And then she said, don't be afraid to put on makeup. Don't be afraid to get the better lighting. Your headshot is a massive interpretation of you, especially when you're reaching out to people and they're trying to get to know you and all they have is that headshot of you. And so for 5 to 7 minutes, we talked about headshots and lighting and why she travels with certain things and why she posts certain things. And the feedback that I got from her, I took to heart. And so now I'm working on a headshot. I'm actually sending it to her for her and her team. And I said, hey, do you approve of this headshot? That's my whole game plan with this. But it leads me to just this question is, how well are you at taking feedback? Or do you get defensive? You know, there was many times in my career where I would just get incredibly defensive when it came to feedback. And look, I will say this, something about me is it's hard to give me feedback if you're not watching me operate every day, if you're not in the trenches with me every day. It is hard for me to take that feedback. Now, there's certain people that can, and it's just the way they do it. Now, for her feedback was specific, not to my work, not to what AIME's doing, but it was to a headshot. She's that meticulous that she probably saw my headshot maybe 1 or 2 times, but that's the first thing that she said to me. Why? Because it was important to her. Those are the things she probably talks to her team about. Those are the things that are important in her life. And so for me, taking that feedback with grace meant the world. And I hope all of you take feedback constructively. And I hope you don't get defensive to it. Because get rid of the emotions. Stop getting so upset about things. It's not going to help you. But when someone like that or other people in your life that truly care for you, that have no interest, there's nothing that I can do for that woman. Nothing. But if those people are taking the time to give you feedback, how seriously do you take it and how fast do you execute? So my question to all of you is, coming into 2026 and the rest of this year, How are you going to open up the lines so you can receive constructive feedback on a weekly, daily, if not monthly basis? That's what it's going to take to get to the next level. And I hope all of you have the opportunity to meet human beings in your life that have energy and an aura about them that's just hard to explain. And I hope you get the opportunity to talk to them and they give you the chance to pour into you. I appreciate you all. That is my story. Cannot wait to see y'all soon.
Man. So, funny story. I got feedback on my headshot this week as well from my parents. They said, because hi, Mom and Dad. They listen to this every week. They're not involved in mortgage, but they like to hear my voice, and we talk twice a week, but that's not enough for them. And my mom wants to hear my voice more, and so they listen to the podcast. And but I got a text from my dad, and he goes, "You're not smiling in your headshot for Broker Power Up. You're not smiling." I'm like, I'm kind of smiling. He's like, "Your mouth isn't open. It's a smirk." And so next week on this episode, it'll be a different headshot. It'll be me smiling. So I just thought it was funny coincidence.
I love that.
Both got feedback on our headshot, and we're both making changes.
Well, and the fact that it's your parents too, I love, right? The fact that they went out of their way to, hey, like this just looks a certain way, and you didn't take offense to it, because here's the cool part, y'all, about doing this. We're getting fans, right? And we're getting people, and it feels good. I'm not going to sit here and pretend, and neither is Tommy.
That's why we do it.
Yes, we love it, and we're enjoying it, and we know you're enjoying it. So if y'all have feedback for us, just like his parents did, Tommy and I love it. Yeah. We embrace it. We don't take offense to it. I love that he shared that. Shout out to your family on that. Shout out to your mom. Shout out to your dad.
Absolutely. I don't know. It's one of those things we can improve it just a little bit more, make it just a little more welcoming to click that link and take a listen to us ramble for 40 minutes about whatever it is we're talking about, the sales pitch training, the broker buzz, the story time. It's just anything we can do to help bring more people in and create a more welcoming environment, I think is something we need to do.
I agree 100%, my friend.
Well, thank you for tuning in to this episode of the Broker Power Up podcast. If you found today's tips helpful, do us a favor. Hit the like button to let us know you enjoyed it, which helps even more people see this content. Then subscribe to our YouTube channel. Ring the bell to get notified every time we drop new content, which, get prepared, a lot more is coming. Share this video with a fellow broker who could use a power up. And remember, to lead by example, to lift each other up, to grow together, and most importantly, close more loans. Until next time, keep powering up.